Hello friends and enemies. Today we are looking at the SH MonsterArts Mizutsune from Monster Hunter. Now, full disclosure, I have never played Monster Hunter. I don't really know much about it, but I've seen the monster designs and I enjoy them. I actually have one of SH MonsterArts Monster Hunter figures, the Nargacuga. I still don't know if I'm pronouncing that right, but I really like the design of that one, and I really like the design of this one. I don't know, I can't say no to a pink and purple fox dragon, so I got it. The SH MonsterArts figures are usually of a pretty good size, and their boxes reflect that. This is a pretty large box, really nice product photos on the front, Mizutsune, all sorts of holographic labels and trademarks on the top, and through the back you have a really cool claw mark effect, more product photos. Now the claw mark effect, while really neat, doesn't really show much of the actual creature. If I remember right, it was the same way with the Nargacuga. You just don't really get that much of a good look at it while it's inside the package. But a lot of packages are going plastic free these days, so that might be something that you will be seeing more of in the future. Not that this isn't plastic free, there's definitely quite a bit of plastic in here. Really cool promotional shot on the bottom as well. Ages 15 and up. If you give this to someone who is below the age of 15, the Mizutsune will blow delightful bubbles at you that you'll get caught in and trapped until you die. That's what it does, right? I did some cursory research, so let's go ahead and open it. I kind of always meant to play the Monster Hunter games, or at least to try them, but I just never really did. This green backdrop came with it. I don't know if that's intended to use as an actual backdrop to the figure, or if it's just for packaging purposes, but it is a very pretty color. And you've got a sheet of instructions here. It's all in Japanese, but I think I get the gist. Carefully. They wrote this just for me because they knew I couldn't read Japanese. And I guess this is really surprising to no one, but right away I really love this figure. It's just an aesthetic that I love. I was going to say my aesthetic, but I actually typically am not drawn to things that are like overly pink and purplish, but this is just a lovely color combination. So it's an aesthetic for sure. It's very, very reminiscent of cherry blossoms, which I'm sure was the intent. The paint isn't too heavy-handed. Some really nice, almost translucent washes of pink over some nice creamy white. Yeah, there are a lot of neat effects on this figure. A lot of translucency, a little bit of iridescence almost in some places. Really cool pops of color you wouldn't think otherwise would be there. Like some grayish down in these, what are these, flower horns? In these flower horn folds, and some gold, greenish, silver at the tip of the tail. I really like how the claws are tipped in black. And the sculpt, of course, is amazing. SH MonsterArts always does a great job with their sculpts. It's the articulation and the type of plastic that can sometimes be trouble when it comes to these lines. And we'll get into that, but first I kind of wanted to go over the positives because I already really like this figure. When I looked at the Nargacuga, I hope I'm saying that right. If I'm not, I'm really sorry. But when I looked at it, it was really nice, but kind of almost immediately very unwieldy. This is also unwieldy, but not nearly as much. It has the benefit of having 4 actual legs instead of 2 legs and 2 wing legs, so it can stand a little bit better. It's squatter. This tail is very heavy, but we'll get to that in a second. It's just a really beautiful creature design, and it was translated really well into this sculpt. At a cursory glance, all the cuts make sense, where all the articulation goes. It doesn't look too butchered, if you know what I mean. You know, sometimes you'll get figures that are just cut after cut and very obvious cuts, but this one, it's all integrated very nicely. And even the sculpt on the bottom is super detailed. I mean, look at that tail. Detail. Man, I like this creature design so much. So the tail is very heavy. So as far as posing goes, I'm not sure how much you'll be able to get out of it without a stand or something to maybe affix the tail in place, because it's very heavy. It's holding up really well, like it's not really drooping that much, but it doesn't take much. I feel like if you're going to pose this without a stand, it'll probably be in some sort of like anteater pose. I mean, its foreclaws look like they're kind of made for digging up anthills, don't they? It could be an anteater, fox, plant, butterfly, dragon. Why not? But very good movement on the tail. Can go down a bit. I don't want to push it too hard because this material does feel brittle, as it usually does with the SH MonsterArts. But look at how far it can go up. It's staying pretty well too. I don't know if that will last. I hope so, because that looks cool. But yeah, not bad at all there. Is there some twist? There's not much twist at the tail, but you can easily go side to side, and that arc is pretty good. I don't know why I'm doing this back to front, but that's how this video is going. We're gonna start at the end and work our way to the beginning. The MonsterArts figures I've looked at tend to have a lot of segments that can easily get turned out of place, so I'm really trying to avoid that with this. Fairly robust hip right there, even though it's like a little bit further up than the hip. Oh! Yeah, see, I don't want to push this too far or pieces are just going to like start popping off. I'm going to have to heat this up to get it back in, but in the meantime we can take a look at that cavity left behind from that falling out. It's got to be big to accommodate this fur on the end. You've got a little bit of movement on that knee there. Generally, I'm a fan of the SH MonsterArts figures, but they do add a lot of articulation where I don't think there necessarily needs to be any. Like, there didn't need to be as much articulation on this as there is, just in a couple places they could have cut back. But also, what do I know? I'm not a toy manufacturer. We've got a little bit more twist at the waist. That goes back to the thing I was saying about a lot of little segments. We got some movement up and down too. And then these are on ball joints, so they can move individually. But I don't want to mess with them too much. These I think might just fall back into place, but these can be twisted around a little bit. I really don't want to mess with them too much though, because they do feel like they could come out easily. A gentle up on the arm. Don't want to stress it too much, because as we saw with that back leg, if you stress them too much, they'll just pop out, which is better than breaking, but just some gentle exploratory movement. You can twist the paws into different positions. Pretty far down on the neck. Up pretty high. Good range of motion with him. Or her. Or them. Side to side. Yeah, this one so far is a lot more fun to play with than the Nargacuga or the Godzilla one that I got, just because it's got a more fluid body shape, and that's where having more segments makes more sense. With the Godzilla and the Nargacuga, they had a lot of segments that I don't think had to be there, and they were also more stout and not as easy to pose. It's also worth noting that I'm not the one that takes the photos that you see at the end of our videos and on our Instagram and stuff. That's Patrick. I don't like taking photos, and he does, so he does that. And the SH MonsterArts figures are some of his most hated figures to pose and take photos of, so it's not something that I have to deal with. I just get to look at the toy and ooh and ah over it and explain why I like it, and then he does the hard work. He enjoys it. I think. You get some movement on these neck spines as well. Really satisfying movement out of this guy. The mouth opens to reveal a shiny painted tongue. It does not really want to close all the way. Its teeth are in the way, and then its mouth kind of falls open pretty easily. But yeah, I really like it. I mean, I only just opened it, but so far I think it is my favorite SH MonsterArts figure. And part of that is just this character design. I just really enjoy it. But yeah, that tail is pretty heavy. And I saw in some of the promotional images they got it into some pretty crazy poses, but I am sure there was a rod involved in that somehow, because there's no way. I am a fan of the anteater pose, even if that's not accurate. I don't know. I haven't played the games, but it looks like it could be. Anteater dragon attack. Okay, now it comes with some accessories. As I said, I did some cursory research, and this dragon blows bubbles. Bubbles to attack, bubbles to defend, I don't know. So we have like a field of bubbles and a ring of bubbles. The instructions show it kind of perching on this little mound of bubbles right here, so I'm wondering if that's like a egg nest or something? Is it guarding it? And then its tail is resting on this. So I guess that's just kind of for a diorama effect. There's no real place where it has to go on this. There are no peg holes in the feet or pegs in the stand. I call it a stand, but yeah, it's more like just a little diorama piece. Okay, and then its tail can rest on this. Just trying to do it like the picture. Good enough. So yeah, these definitely weren't necessary, I don't think, but they do add some ambiance to the figure. You also get this effect piece, which is meant to be coming out of its mouth. So I guess this is a concentrated stream of bubble fluid, maybe. Stick it into the mouth. Well, actually, you should put it on the stand first. There's a little stand just so that bubble effect doesn't, or stream effect doesn't droop and cause some damage to the inside of the mouth. They could have just made it so it plugs it in and you don't need the stand, but I actually prefer the stand because that way I don't have to worry about it slowly drooping over time. I have a NECA Godzilla toy like that where it comes with the atomic breath, and when it's in, Godzilla's just like, whoo. So I prefer the stand. Okay, so here is Mizutsune against my 2 other SH MonsterArts figures. I do actually have a Ghidorah too, I just haven't opened it yet. I want to do a review on it, but it's very large, so it's going to be another coffee table unboxing. Yeah, so anyway, Godzilla, Nargacuga, and these, like I said, are definitely larger and chunkier. A lot of plates where there don't need to be plates. And now that I'm feeling the difference, the plastic on these feels different than the one on Mizutsune. Like, this one feels a little softer, sturdier, while this is just so hard and brittle and makes it kind of a nightmare to mess around with. This, I wouldn't say is soft, but it is softer. And yeah, it's just smaller and more slender and more fun to play with. I wish they could have gotten the tail a little lighter, but that is a big, voluminous piece of tail, and so it required a lot of plastic. It does not fit in with these two. I guess I need to get another colorful monster. So yeah, the SH MonsterArts Monster Hunter Mizutsune, a really cool design, and yeah, the design lends itself well to action figure form. It does feel fragile. I do not want to push any of it too hard, but I really like it. I do think that there will be some blue tack and or a stand in this figure's future though. So, as always, likes and subscribes are very much appreciated. Comments are more than welcome. And I'll see you guys on the next one.